What up, guys? Another Adonis review. Today, I thought I'd discuss Yakuza Like a Dragon for the year 2022. You haven't played it yet, it's free on Game Pass, it's on sale quite frequently. So I thought we'd discuss it, and see if maybe you're thinking of getting it. I feel like Yakuza is kind of a game where people who play Yakuza play it, and that's just kind of the end all be all of it, and people know it and love it or whatever. And then it's people like me who have never played Yakuza once in their life and never even really heard about it. And then for some reason, I don't know, saw an honest trailer for Like a Dragon or something, and kind of just felt like I'd give it a try. Really, I got it because when PS5 first came out, there wasn't a lot of games that you can get for PS5, and this is kind of one that stood out, and the graphics looked good and looked kind of like a unique game, so I thought I'd get it. So maybe you're looking at expanding your, next gen library, and this is a game that you can get with the next gen version, or maybe you play all the Yakuza games, and this is one you plan on playing, and you just haven't gotten to it yet. I thought we quickly discussed if it might be for you. First, the concept of it, the concept of this game. Like I said, I don't know the other Yakuza games, so I can only discuss this one. Um, and it's supposed to be a standalone story. So if you've never played any Yakuza game, it doesn't matter. This one has nothing to do with it, and it's quite simply a Yakuza story. It's about this guy whose name's Ichiban, and he basically, is a Yakuza member, but he believes in kind of like being a hero, and he's like joined the Yakuza to kind of be a great person to help people, and and the Yakuza was, this kind of like main mafia Yakuza boss helped him when he was a kid, and and kind of like instill with him that you could be nice while being the Yakuza as well, and you know essentially that that's what causes him to you know be a Yakuza member and whatnot. So anywho, so I'd say the first thing that you need to know about this game is the story is fantastic, but sometimes it's just overload when it comes to the story. Um, and I say that you know so honestly that it's insane. Like when I first started playing this game, I'd say like the first 5 hours of it, 90% of it was literally story. Cutscene after cutscene after cutscene after cutscene. Where it almost, but the thing was, the story was so good, and the beginning was so entertaining, and kind of building that story and what was happening, that that I didn't even care. I didn't even care that it was all story. 'Cause I was so interested. Honestly, I was upset when it went back to the game. I want to actually put me in the mode of playing, and I'm like, what? Well, I want to see what happens. Don't interrupt me the story with this stupid gameplay. So there is a huge chunk of story modes, but with that being said, the story is pretty fantastic. There are definitely, later on the game, once, the world kind of opens up, and, the main story kind of goes to the wayside as you start doing these kind of oddball second man things. Um, that's where it kind of slows down, and obviously where you kind of, get more into the actual game and whatnot. And, but the story is great, but that kind of goes into the gameplay. The gameplay is a secondary thing that which might hold people off from playing it. It's kind of like Pokemon. It's like a turn style type gameplay. Like if you play Persona 5, it's like that. So that's kind of what tricked me too when I first bought this game. I couldn't really tell, and it looked like it was just traditional, RPG fighting, and that's just not the case. It actually turned out that it's turn style, which for a lot of people that ruins the game, right? It's not the reason why you'd want to play it. So if you don't like turnstile based games where you go and then the enemy goes once and your teammate goes next and then their teammate goes next and goes one after another, and you have to kind of measure your healing and attack and find someone's weakness and and whatnot. Um, this game is probably not going to be for you. I used to never really like turnstile based games, back in the day. I'd say like Pokemon was like the only one I ever actually did play. And obviously, even Pokemon gets extremely dull after a while, and especially when nowadays we're praying, like with this new Pokemon that they're finally gonna do something new, and they're still 10 years behind on what their potentials are. But after Persona 5, I realized I actually do really like. I can enjoy a game even if it's style based. It's not a big deal. It still take some strategy and whatnot to do, and it doesn't ruin a game for me. Still not my first. I'm not gonna get a game just based off of a turnstile, but it's not gonna ruin it for me essentially. So I hope that does help you out if you are thinking of that if you don't know what the gameplay style is, because that is what it is, and that's something I didn't know when I bought it. And if I would have known that before, I probably would have never gotten it, to be honest with you. I'm glad I gave it a chance anyways. It's a fun game, but like I said, that's the biggest difficulty with this game. It's really, uh, it's really evening out the story with the gameplay. Because I feel like when you get really into the story, you don't want to deal with the gameplay. That's when it gives you gameplay. And then when you're really into the gameplay, and then the story is kind of going slow, that's where, that's when all of a sudden you get hit with the most story. But anywho, going to the last point, which is why what I think makes this game, the most fun to buy, and then probably the best reason this game is so good, is just the ridiculousness of it. I mean, I can spend I spend hours doing the most ridiculous side missions and little mini games. This game's full of just random ridiculous moments and just random nonsense, that you have to do, and I can spend hours. They have, for example, they have one mini game where you kind of build your own a company, and it's kind of all dealt inside this little business that you have, and it starts off as a little cookie company, and then you kind of have to build this company from being top 150 companies in the area, and eventually build it into being the number one company in the area. And to do that, you have to hire people, measure their strength, and make sure that they're capable of running your business, and making sure that they're pleased. If they could be unhappy, and hate their job, then you might have to buy them vacations or massage, or bump up their pay or their promotion. And then it has like a mini boss feature, or the boss feature of that game, which is basically a shareholders meeting where you have to fight the shareholders, and they'll try to attack you with being displeased, and and then you have to like beat them in submission with answering their questions until they love you, and you apologize to them, and that does major damage. It's mini games like that. They have kart racing. They have lots of little side missions that you get running around the city. Um, lots of RPG elements. It's a lot of you. There's a mini game where you collect cans because you start off in the game being homeless and you have to collect cans. Just so many ridiculous things like that I feel like really like make the game. Like you like when you summon people, you summon them on your cell phone, and you can summon a crawfish to a guy who looks like Jason Voorhees, but he's just like a dude who who's like slow and cuts meat, and he cuts so badly that gets blood all over him, and he looks ridiculous. Or to where you could summon the mascot of the area, and and it's like an orange or pear shaped head guy, or like an orange head shaped guy, and these people can help you. So it's the things like that really make this game enjoyable. And I like many people have said before, like look at this my guy's attacks. He's a break dancer. They each gonna have different jobs, and you can change their jobs, and depending on what the jobs are, depends what attacks they might have. So I made this guy a break dancer, so he has break dancer attacks. And my main guy is the job hero, so he's like dressed like a knight in shining armor. And because I did so great on the business portion, I have a skill where I can slap them with money, with a giant slap of money. So I'm gonna do a fat stack slap, and just slap them with all my money. So it's the things like that really make this game, and just the best. This guy's a homeless, and you can spray him with his stink breath, and lighting on a fire. So end all be all, if you've never played Yakuza games before, you're thinking about getting this game maybe to add to your next gen library, and you didn't know if it's worth it. If you don't like turn-based games, you won't like this, unfortunately. Even so, the story is fantastic. But if you can deal with turn-based games, the story is amazing. I even played it in English, which apparently is terrible. The way I feel about it is, if it's a game that I haven't, ever heard in Japan, I don't really care. I'm not ever gonna hear how good the Japanese voice dubs of it is. So I could honestly care less. So I think the game's fun. I think it's great. I think it's worth getting. I think if the price I'd probably pay for it, maybe $15 is the best deal I can imagine you getting for it. It would be pretty fair. The most I'd probably pay for it's like $30. I'd guess. I forgot how much I really got it for, but I think it was pretty cheap already. So I think it's worth it. If you haven't played it and you're thinking of playing, if you played the other Yakuza game, I'm sure you'll love this one too. The story is amazing. Like I said, it makes me want to, go look up Yakuza movies, so I can get more Yakuza stories, in my brain because I enjoy it so much. It really makes you enjoy the Japanese lifestyle. And the graphics are pretty good. There's some places where it's kind of rough around the edges, but overall, it's definitely not too shabby of a game. I think it's worth it. So I hope that helps you out if you're thinking of getting it. I hope that gives you a little bit of advice on what you should do and if something's worth it or not for you. And that's been another Adonis review. So beyond that, I hope you guys have a good one.